Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. So I just put some bones into the oven to roast at 425 for about 25 minutes, and then I'll poke at them and see how they're doing. So today's video is all about baby food, and I had my fifth child almost 7 months ago, back in January. So she is at that stage where she is starting to want some extra food besides breast milk. So we are going to be starting solids, and the first thing that I'm going to start her off is bone broth. And I thought I would chat a little bit about how I do baby's first foods and solids and how we introduce stuff, because it's very unconventional according to the modern way society. So usually, I mean, it's all advertised to us to give baby jar foods, and then to give those rice cereals or little puff, I can't even remember what they're called, like those puff meltables things. But so I got a little interrupted. One of my kiddos came in from playing outside. So what I was saying is, like, when I was a first time mom, I obviously went that traditional route of where I didn't know anything because I was a first time mom, and I went and bought baby food in jars, and I bought those rice cereal and or like the powder that you mix that makes like this little pudding kind of thing, and I gave my child Cheerios and Puffs, and so all of it was just basically sugar and grains. And if you look at how our gut works and the gut bacteria and the flora and everything, basically sugar and grains are like literally the worst thing you can do for your gut. So especially a baby, because when you think about, when you'll have to do this research on your own, but when a baby is born, obviously, if you've heard of a leaky gut, basically that's what they kind of have until they start developing more, and the gut flora starts building in their abdomen and in their gut from all the environmental bacteria, the good and bad bacteria, and that's how they get their gut flora. So when they're just exposed into their world, in this world, they don't have an established gut. Basically, this is very, very simplified, but their gut, it can't process sugars and grains. Especially grains are really harsh on our bodies. So I like to start off with bone broth. Bone broth is a superfood. It's super nutrient dense. It's amazing. Every time I give birth to my babies, my mom, especially this last time, I was super heavy on nutrient, but my mom was making huge stock pot of bone broth and beef broth, and I was just drinking it by the chug, by the gallon, I mean. That's probably not a gallon. Gallon is a lot, y'all. Like huge mason jars, like 2 of those a day postpartum. But so I'm gonna introduce bone broth first. We're gonna do it in very little ounces. So once I see how she's adapting and her tummy is doing well, we'll do bone broth for quite some time, maybe 3 weeks, depending how much more food she's wanting. Once she consumes a good amount of bone broth at dinner time, I will increase cooking her vegetables in beef broth or bone broth. I might not always have bone broth on hand, but I usually do have beef broth. So I will cook most of her vegetables in beef broth or bone broth, and then I will introduce one at a time. So 1 week, say, she'll try carrots with broth, just so I can see and be careful not to experience any allergens. She might have allergens to it or not. So we'll do that. Then we will be cooking some eggs, scrambled eggs, and I cook scrambled eggs in some high quality butter. So you'd want it to be grass-fed. It'd be amazing if you can make your own butter, but not a lot of people are making their own butter. So high quality, organic, grass-fed butter is gonna be perfect to cook with some organic. So after we introduce the eggs, we then can slowly start introducing some meats. And for meats, I start with chicken liver or beef liver. These are, again, super foods. Liver is an amazing, super nutrient dense food. and that is what I'll start off with. Also being cooked in some sort of nutritious and nutrient dense broth. So, and then obviously from there we'll transition into more like kind of baby led food, but this is all going to take a few months, so it's going to be a pretty lengthy process, but I wanted to share kind of how that's going to be going. And if you guys are interested, I will be updating on my Instagram account and showing a little bit more of like a day in the life kind of process of me making the food for the baby. I plan on making a big batch, putting in these little mason jars and putting them in the freezer so that I don't have to cook it every single day. But I am so excited. There's many resources out there, mainly free on YouTube. You can learn a lot about baby-led weaning and which foods are the best to give your baby and just how to make them. I feel like when I was a first-time mom, I was so nervous about making my own baby food that like I just didn't do it, and I bought the store-bought. And then once I realized with my second one that it's fairly easy to make, I just started making all my baby food at home, and I do not buy my children those processed puffs and all those little melt in your mouth stuff. Honestly, you can just put any puree or fruit in one of those like silicone things that have like holes on top, and they can just suck on those. And even better, if they're teething, you can just put it in the freezer and then hand it to them, and they basically have a lollipop and or a fresh popsicle basically. So I really want to encourage you, if you're a first-time mom or if this is your first time just thinking about making your own baby food, highly recommend it. Do not overcomplicate it. Cook some carrots. Go buy some really high quality bone broth or beef broth at the store, and there you go. And that is going to take you, what, 5 minutes to cook those carrots. Blend it up and you're all good, and your child has some really high quality ingredients that you know are organic and clean, and there's no additives, and it's fresh, and your baby's getting the best nutrients. Anyways, that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Hopefully I'll be able to answer them, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.